I'm Nicole, and today we're going to be joined by Maria Diviney, who is the COO of Lunar Systems. So, thank you for taking the time to do this today. So, for those who don't know, tell us about Lunar Systems and what you do.
Yeah, so at Lynn Systems, we leverage computer vision technology, smart camera technology, in order to make light electric vehicles safer. We're most known in the shared micromobility space, but we are moving more into the consumer space too, into e-bikes, and that's going to be an important focus for the panel for this year's event, which we're very much looking forward to. But yeah, in the shared micromobility space, our three core problems we're trying to solve are sidewalk riding, disorderly parking, and collisions. And yeah, we see these as really core problems that are holding the industry back to a certain extent. And it's an interesting year because a lot of cities are starting to stipulate the need for technologies to get around these issues to really make these vehicles safer. You know, they see the benefit in it. I think everyone does, but it's just some of these issues are kind of holding back scale and making cities feel uncomfortable about rolling them out on a bigger level. And then on the consumer e-bike space, where our technology works to provide greater situational awareness for cyclists, so they can feel more comfortable as well. In a recent Ipsos Mori study, actually, it was shown that globally 52% of cyclists feel unsafe cycling in their area. And this is in the UK, for example, I think the figure was 57%. In the Netherlands, no great surprise, it's lower, it's 14%. But of course, they have their challenges as well, and not least with regards to kind of newer vehicles and multi-speed vehicles that are coming on the market. So they have their challenges as well. So essentially, our technology provides greater situational awareness for cyclists, for riders of scooters, to help them move from A to B more safely.
Lovely. And you mentioned that figure is quite high. So, tell us a bit about your urban mobility safety platform features.
Absolutely. So we work in a myriad of different ways. As I mentioned, we work with shared operators. Our camera, which we're most known for, our retrofit solution. It's a camera that essentially is installed on the front of the vehicle and which connects to the vehicle's power supply, and essentially is an all-in-one solution that will provide greater situational awareness, greater fleet management potential for shared operators, so they can understand and better manage issues like sidewalk riding, issues like collisions and disorderly parking. And then also from the city's perspective, the platform is very interesting as well. Obviously, we're gathering a lot of data as we're going along. This is all data sensitive. We built in facial blurring, license plate blurring as standard. But this data is essential for cities really to be able to better understand how people engage with these vehicles and how they move around. It's crucial that they understand, challenge areas in cities where a multitude more accidents are happening, so that they can better investigate these and make the necessary infrastructure changes. So yeah, between the camera and the platform, really it's about improving safety and also helping cities to better plan for the future, because most cities are built for cars essentially. So as we move into a space where more vehicles, newer modes of mobility come online, it is really crucial for city planners to better understand just how people, the reasons why, for example, someone mounts a footpath, or the nature of accidents. All of these are crucial data points that will help inform the future for mobility.
Lovely. And you mentioned technology is a huge part of your platform. So, how has the use of like AI and new technologies helped develop this sort of safety in the mobility industry specifically to you?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting space, and I think how it's probably making up until now, we've been kind of deploying in pilots to see how the technology is able to detect these kinds of incidents, the ones I mentioned previously, like sidewalk riding. We're moving into a space now where we're looking at more practical interventions and what they could look like in order to deter um, riders from making bad choices. But as I mentioned earlier, in terms of data, giving that to the cities and helping them to look at it from their point of view and seeing, what are the changes that need to be made. So I think that, yeah, the two elements of this that are most crucial are the interventions, and as I mentioned, the data. Then the data is just crucial to help people plan, because we really believe policy obviously is massively important. Infrastructure has its role to play as well, but I think technology really informs both of those. So that's how I see our technology helping, but now and kind of into the future. It's really helping operators in cities feel more safe about how they're rolling these out, more confident, and yeah, and as I mentioned, the data is just crucial. And then from the consumer perspective, AI has huge potential to help riders feel safer as well. We've seen a lot of new technologies come online the last few years, some of them radar based, which a lot of attendees will be very familiar with. Again, the vision layer of that, it just adds another level of insight, um, that we really feel is going to be crucial to help cyclists feel safer at crucial points in city infrastructure.
Brilliant. And lastly, what can we expect to see from Lunar Systems in the next 12 to 18 months? And more importantly, what can we expect to hear from you at Move?
Great. Yeah,
Mm.
as I mentioned, so I think 20, we're at a very, very interesting junction in the industry. It's kind of, I think when we look back in a couple of years, we'll see 22 and 23 has been really crucial watershed moments where we're consolidating, both literally and I think figuratively, and taking stock really of old ways of doing things, and looking at what needs to be improved. So, I think when it comes to Luna specifically, and when it comes to just computer vision and AI in general, I think that's feeding more into this, into the future. I think it's feeding more into understanding how people get around cities. This data is going to be very crucial. But it's as it rolls out more in scale, as we see more and more cities starting to stipulate the need for this kind of technology, and indeed wider safety technologies as well. We're going to see a bigger impact. Madrid recently issued their stipulation for sidewalk routing technology. They're having issues in Marseille as well, I believe, currently, and obviously we have the situation in Paris. So it's a really, really crucial moment, I think, for the industry. But I think a lot of realization is going to come into effect in that, where education of riders is very, very crucial. There will come a point where, unless there are really strong legal frameworks in place to deter this kind of behavior, really the only alternative really is looking at practical interventions from the rider or the cyclist perspective, in terms of how they're managing their vehicles, how they're managing their ride, and making the right choices, really.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. And we look forward to seeing you at Move in June.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nicole.